Deputy FBI Director Dan Bongino officially announced he's leaving his position at the Bureau next month, departing after less than 1 year on the job.
In a post on X, Bongino writes, "I will be leaving my position with the FBI in January. I want to thank President Trump, Attorney General Bondi, and Director Patel for the opportunity to serve with purpose. Most importantly, I want to thank you, my fellow Americans, for the privilege of serving you. God bless America and all those who defend her."
Bongino's tenure at the FBI was tumultuous at times, most notably with the reported tension between the Bureau and the Justice Department over the handling of the Jeffrey Epstein files. Before becoming Deputy Director, Bongino had long questioned the official narrative that Epstein took his own life. Multiple outlets reported that Bongino clashed with Attorney General Pam Bondi over the summer before he eventually seemed to change his mind and agree that Epstein did indeed kill himself.
Prior to his appointment to the FBI, Bongino built a large online following through his podcast, where he was a staunch defender of Trump and a critic of the FBI during the Biden administration. Reactions to his announcement have been pouring in, including from President Trump. Trump told reporters on Wednesday, "Dan did a great job. I think he wants to go back to his show." FBI Director Kash Patel gave his own farewell, writing on X, "Dan's the best partner I could have asked for in helping restore this FBI. He brought critical reforms to make the organization more efficient, led the successful summer heat op, served as the people's voice for transparency, and delivered major breakthroughs in long unsolved cases like the pipe bomb investigation." And that's only a small part of the work. He went about every single day delivering for America. He not only completed his mission, he far exceeded it. We'll miss him, but I'm thankful that he accepted the call to serve. Our country is better and safer for it. No more Dan Bongino.
No,
so
I won't be shedding too many tears about that, as you might imagine.
Back to the podcast circuit. I
Yes.
guess that's where he wants to be.
It's also what he's more temperamentally suited for. I don't even mean that in quite a
well, it's
sneering
what
way.
he's decided he's
probably
more
came out.
temperamentally suited for. Maybe Kash Patel should do the same.
Yeah.
That is a criticism that, frankly, people on the right have made of these two at this point. And you'll remember, Niall, I was very excited about Kash Patel. Actually, he was the Trump administration figure I was kind of most excited about, because I had heard him on podcasts talking about all these things he wanted to do with the FBI that I thought were great ideas. What I think we've learned subsequently is the case with both of them is that they're very good at talking about things on television, but that's where their heart is. Mm-hmm. And Kash Patel, we've been making fun of relentlessly this week for that ill-timed podcast appearance. Katie Miller with the girlfriend talking about their relationship and
right.
the Brown University killer still at large, which is now becoming a really terrifying and appalling failure. As with Charlie Kirk's killer, I'm like, well, give it 2 or 3 days and they'll catch him. Luigi Mangione was the same way. It's been what, a week now, coming up on a week, and they haven't caught him.
Right.
That's very disturbing, and they have pretty clear footage relatively of the perpetrator. So I'm still fingers crossed that this person will be brought to justice very swiftly, but. This is not an FBI that has satisfied conservatives, I think, by any stretch of the imagination, let alone liberals. We're always going to be rather unhappy with these two characters, but they have not endeared themselves to they started from a position of great friendliness with MAGA. They don't enjoy that now.
Right. And I think that your point about the podcasts and all of that underlines a point that often gets derided, which is that expertise does in fact matter. And both Kash Patel and Dan Bongino made their names really with pretty incendiary rhetoric, and then were, as a consequence of the fame that they had accrued from that process, put on the top of a very important bureau. Now, we could have a whole debate about law enforcement and the FBI and all of that, but the point is, the jobs that they occupy are obviously very important jobs. The problem in Bongino's case is that there was this real clash between the kind of claims he had made on his podcast, including, for example, about the January the 6th pipe bomber, which he had continually implied was some sort of inside job or there was something nefarious about it. They now have arrested someone in that case. It seems like it's not an inside job at all. There's no evidence of that if it's that person. And so Bongino had to sort of row back from that position. That, I think, is indicative of the broader attitude, and it's why his tenure has been so problematic.
I should note that Thomas Massie has echoed some concerns from whistleblowers he's spoken to about the pipe bomber suspect they have. Again, I'm not generally one to question, like, I have no doubt the person they've apprehended in the Charlie Kirk case is the killer. I'm not one to, like, generally question that they've got the right person.
I hope you're not going to become the Candace Owens of the January the 6th pipe bomber.
I certainly don't want to do that, but it is, for whatever it's worth, Thomas Massie said he's heard from people in the FBI who are very surprised about this suspect, who knew this person previously, who lived in the same neighborhood, and have doubts about whether or how he could have possibly pulled it off. Who knows?
Yeah.
That's out there.
I mean, I don't want to say that the guy's guilty when he's presumably going to plead his innocence and is going to have his day in court. But, I mean, there was a whole, you remember the Blaze embarrassed itself terribly by naming a person who they said by gait analysis had seemed, 94, 95% certain. And they ultimately had to retract that story. We're not going to identify the person they named here, obviously, but that was indicative of a kind of embarrassing eagerness to declare it an inside job, in my view.
Trump picked a lot of his cabinet positions, a lot of his admin staff from the world of television and entertainment, which he values. That's where he comes from himself. But you're right that it does take not just being good on TV, it takes technical expertise to run a department. It's not all just comms. You can pick the White House press secretary, can come from the realm of television and entertainment, but you need people who don't just go on Fox. And I think even the MAGA faithful is getting a little frustrated with the idea that it's all about the optics and the comms and creating content. I mean, they have total control of the government right now. They have the presidency, they have Congress, they have a Supreme Court that's majority Republican. Now is the time to get things done. And I'm not sure, to deliver on big, bold promises they made about wholesale reform of the FBI, wholesale reform of the deep state and the permanent federal bureaucracy. Are they pulling that off? I don't think the view of the right is that they're pulling that off.
Right.
That Trump is most transformative in ways that are like making businesses and other things personally do his bidding or curry favor with him has been the way he has exercised power most aggressively. That's not hugely beneficial to me. I want to use power in a transformational way to make the federal government smaller, not to make everyone else more afraid of what the president might do to you.
Right, and we will have another example of a kind of trollishness later on. But before that, a new poll shows Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez beating J.D. Vance in 2028. We'll talk about that next. Don't go anywhere.